How are you guys doing? My name is Joseph Googie. I am one of the co-founders of Pre-PT Grind, which is a pre-PT platform that is meant to help you as a pre-PT get into PT school without wasting time or money. If you are new to this page, congratulations and welcome to our pre-PT community. This is probably the best you're going to find. Welcome. We want you to participate. Natalie, how are you doing? Good to see you. If you are new here, we want you to feel free to ask as many questions as possible. We want you to feel like this is a safe space where you can just, no question is a bad question. If you feel overwhelmed, tonight is the live stream for you, though. But we have Judy, we have Lindsay, yes, Lynn, we have Corey, Elijah, good to see you all. Casey, Naquina, I'm so sorry if I butchered your name. I was actually joking with somebody else today how my name is always like butchered because it's strange. It's like Jose, but no one really knows whether it's Jose or Moses. But and then my last name, no one even gives it a shot. So good to see you all. Rachel, it's great to see you as well. Let me let Casey on here. But what we do on Thursday nights is we have a pre-PT grind live. We have a pre-PT grind live, which is when Casey and myself both come on here. We're both the co-founders of pre-PT grind, but we come on here to just add value to your lives. We speak to hundreds of pre-PTs all the time. We have our students that are part of the acceptance system we're speaking to all the time. And when we're on the phone with them, when we're speaking to you, messaging you, there's always certain things that we hear and you're asking questions about. We're like, you know what? We need to just talk about this in front of everybody else. Whether it's people in the pre-doctor or physical therapist through this page, whether you're watching this on YouTube right now, everything we talk about in here is things that you guys about. Danielle, how are you doing? Nate, good to see you. Nate says the application cycle gave me anxiety, more so due to the debt that is to come, and the PTs who advised me not going to the field due to it. It's not for money, but that crippling debt does give me the anxiety for sure. Hey, if you wouldn't mind sending us a message right now, go to Pre-PT Grind, go to contact@preptgrind.com. We'd love to just talk to you about how to navigate that, because that is a real concern. And honestly, that might be our next live training. But good to see all of you guys. All right, so tonight, Casey, how you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling good, man. Feeling good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing amazing. I just got back from an open house for one of our clinics that opened up recently in a different part of Tampa. So that was pretty amazing. But tonight we want to talk about overwhelm. So I saw a post about anxiety. Overwhelm sometimes even leads to that. But right now, if you're watching this live, or if you're watching this on replay, are you currently going through a point where you just feel overwhelmed? Whether it's being overwhelmed from everything that comes with the application process, whether it's being overwhelmed in relation to just everything you're trying to juggle, both maybe at home. You might be doing some stuff at home, some things with work, some things with maybe getting your shadowing hours, your application, PTCAS, the schools, and you're just feeling like, man, this is getting really, really big. This is getting very challenging. It's hard to balance. Is that you? If that is you and you're watching this live, or if you're watching this on replay, I want you to comment me below. If you've either felt overwhelmed or you're looking a little bit into the future, you might be applying next cycle, you might be applying in a few weeks, and you're saying, man, there's a lot coming up. Maybe I'm retaking my GRE or doing it for the first time. I'm studying for that. I'm trying to figure out PTCAS. I'm overwhelmed with so many different things, and I just feel overwhelmed. Rachel, that's you. Okay, perfect. So the reason why I asked that question is I just want to know if I'm speaking to the right people tonight. I just want to make sure that we're talking to the right people. And if you're watching this on replay, I know you're not live right now. If you're watching this on replay, I want you to comment below as well, because everything, Donette, good to see you, my friend, because everything we're about to share tonight is to help you handle that. It's so common. It's so common, and I think what happens sometimes as pre-PTs is we assume that we're the only ones going through it. I mean, I know I felt that way. I know Casey's nodding, so clearly he felt that way. We feel like we're the only ones going through it. We feel like we're the only ones experiencing that level of frustration, stress, anxiety, those same questions. And usually what happens is when we feel like we're the only ones, we feel like we have to make a decision that's different from everybody else. And that decision usually means pulling the plug. That decision usually means, well, it looks like everybody else has it figured out. I feel like I don't. So maybe this isn't for me. Have you guys ever thought of that? Like, if you've ever even considered that, just let me know in the comments. And that's why talking about this becomes so critical, because our aim in everything that we do, our aim is to simply get y'all into PT school if that's what you really want. And we understand that getting into PT school is not just like a few check marks. Okay, I've applied. Okay, I've done this. Okay, I've done this. We're all human beings. We're all human beings, which means that we all go through the same roller coaster phases. Danny, good to see you. Michael, good to see you. We all go through the same ups and downs. I have good days. I have not so good days. Casey has them too. We all go through them. But it's how we navigate it all. Marissa, good to see you. It's how we navigate it that allows us to crush it. So if you're okay with us sharing you the top four steps that we would suggest for you to use tonight, if you guys are okay with us sharing those, the top 4 steps to helping you really just navigate. Crush is another word you can use, but navigate your overwhelm or feelings of it. If you're okay with us sharing, say I'm ready. If you're watching this on replay, say I'm ready. Because I just want to know, like, if you guys are okay with us sharing them, we would love to share, and then we'll get offline because I have a puppy waiting for me outside the door, and I have my lovely wife waiting for me as well. Emilio, good to see you. But we like, if that is you, if you're like, yo, I'm ready, share it. Tell us, Casey and Joseph, tell us. If you guys want us to share that with you, let us know. I just want to make sure we're all locked in tonight. We're all locked in. Welcome to everybody that's showing up right now. Good to have you guys here. Casey, how much did you struggle with this when you were a pre-PT?
Yeah,
Just kind of feel on the whole.
Yeah, I'm getting to that in a second. Let me know in the comments, and Joseph, I can't see the comments, but I hear a little kind of delay, echo. I don't know if that's from me, if it's from you, but let me know. And Joseph, let me know if they're commenting yes or not. But I was like, what's going on here? But anyways, yeah, everyone feels it. Don't feel like anyone has already had this figured out. I hear it in my earphones, so I'm going to take it out. Don't let it seem like everyone has this figured out. We're all trying to figure this out. Nobody has their stuff together. So you're not alone with this. You're not alone. And before Joseph goes into his 4 that he uses for overwhelm, I'm going to go into some steps I use. Not in any particular order, really, but really, if I feel overwhelmed, if I'm feeling like, man, this day is just, I don't have stuff in control, it's getting out of hand, this is the stuff that I usually go through in my head. So as a pre-PT, PT school even now, is simple steps. Simple stuff like just doing a brain dump. If I feel like everything's on my mind, just writing everything down, just getting it out of my head so it has somewhere else to live. Instead of just, eating away at me, instead of giving me anxiety, put it somewhere else. Like, write on a piece of paper, make a paper airplane, throw it out the window. I don't care. Toss it in the basket, in the trash, and yell Kobe if you need to. Do whatever you need to do, but give it somewhere else to live. That's what I do. Next is let go of what you can and cannot change. That's what I try to do. Then whatever's left over, whatever I do have control over and what I can change, then from there I make a priority list. Okay, over the things I can change, what's most important there? Then I just knock those out. Then, of course, like many other people, I give them a time. I give them a place to live at. Okay, I'm sure you guys heard this before. If it's not scheduled, it doesn't exist, whatever. So I put it down. Give it a time. So I have my appointment to do this task. Then after that, I just do one step at a time. It's not overcomplicated. There's so many planners out there. There's so many books. Use them if you have to do it. But those are just some tangible things I want to give to you guys because this is what I've at least tried to use. I'm not going to say I'm perfect by any means. I'm not going to say I'm perfect. Some months I've done this. Some months I haven't. Some days I have. Some days I haven't. But this is what seems to work for me the best. So if it works for anyone else, try it. Just do a brain dump, number 1. Let go of what you can and cannot change. Next, prioritize them. And just take it a step at a time. Don't give yourself any more stress than you need to. So, hey, send us a message. Let us know if that worked for you. And keep pushing because everyone deals with it. And you're not alone. So that's my 2-3 cents on this. What do you think?
Yeah, man. Like it's so true.
it sounds so simple. It sounds so simple, but what normally happens is when we're overwhelmed, we're usually in the thick of it. So we're panicking. We're like, oh my goodness, everything is. Usually, sometimes like when we're overwhelmed is when we start like making everything so much bigger than it really is. And so what we want to do is a lot of what Case said is exactly what you need to do. So I'm gonna break it up for you in 4 steps. And what I'll have you guys do is I like participation because I know that when we learn best. What's up, Robin? Good to see you, Susie. Matthias, good to see you. Rosita, good to see you. Warren, how you guys doing? So what I want you to do is when you're learning, one of the best ways to learn is not just to do it one way, right? So I'm gonna say things verbally so you guys can hear them, but I also want y'all to write it down. So you can either write it down on a pen and paper, because I know like things, we don't retain things as well unless we use multiple sensory, like our sensory system as a whole, whether it's in writing, whether it's in visual, listening, speaking, all that. And so what I want you guys to do is when I say a point, I want you guys to comment it below, okay? So I'm gonna break down for you everything Case just said, but I'm gonna break it down into 4 steps, 4 key steps. And you guys can just follow these 4 steps, a lot of the overwhelm you're experiencing will start to dissipate. And then if you're still stuck, just send us a message and be like, hey, I've tried them, I'm still stuck, and let's talk, because chances are that there's something else. There's something else that we're missing. So here's what I want you guys to do. So number 1, I want you guys to write this down. Comment it below. Number 1, the first thing, if you guys want to crush this feeling of overwhelm, because a lot of you have already said, Joseph, Casey, I'm feeling it. I'm currently feeling it, or I'm anticipating it. The first thing is you have to break it up. So comment below. Comment below, break it up, and then I'll break down what that means, right? Comment below, break it up. Break it up. So the first thing you have to do is break it up. Like, let's go back to what overwhelm really is. Overwhelm is usually either we physically feel like we have too much, like it's too big. You're making it too big. Sometimes we make it too big. Other times it is. Other times you really do have a lot on your schedule. Other times, like it's like sometimes we really don't make it up. Like if someone tells you, "Oh, come on, just take it easy. It's this." Like sometimes it is actually a lot. You might actually look at your life and you're like, "Oh my goodness, I'm handling so much." I've spoken to a few pre-PTs that are like having like borderline full-time jobs. And they're like, I'm doing that. At the same time, they're applying. At the same time, they're trying to figure out their essay. At the same time, they're like, man, I didn't get the score I wanted on my GRE, so I'm trying to study for that. At the same time, they're also, babysitting for their auntie over the weekend. Like they're having a lot, and then the other responsibilities in their family, it becomes a lot. So sometimes it is a lot. Other times, we actually build it up in our heads. So regardless of whether it's like real and tangible or whether it's in our heads, and I'm not saying you're making it up, I'm just saying that sometimes when you're anxious about something, you actually do build it up. So what happens is we don't take action on things because we have built them up. And by the time we're ready to encounter them, it's so big that we're like, oh, dang, I can't handle this. So we have to break it up. So break everything up. Like, what is really overwhelming you? Have you ever really, have you written it down? Like y'all, I love writing things down. So I usually just grab a piece of paper and I'll say, okay, what's overwhelming you? Like, if you don't see it, how can you know how to handle it, right? So what is it first? The application cycle is overwhelming me. Okay, what about the application cycle? Break it down. Break it down. Like, break it down piece by piece. It's kind of like, y'all ever play with Legos? Comment me if y'all ever played with Legos growing up. So my household, we did not have Legos. I don't know if my parents thought they were dangerous or too expensive. I'll never know. But what I do know is when I went to my friend's house that had Legos, that was one of the first things I loved to play with. So you could create whatever you wanted to create. You could build whatever you wanted to build. But at the end of the day, you could also break it apart and create something else, right? And so think of your overwhelm like a castle built with Lego blocks. I want you to start breaking apart each of the blocks. Yes, Lynn. Yeah, I want you to start breaking apart the little blocks. What is it? So I'm going through it's my application process, Joseph. Okay, what about it? Joseph, it's the GRE. It's the GRE. GRE is overwhelming me. Okay, what else? Joseph, it's PTCAS. It's too much. It's too much. Okay, what else? I'm just afraid. Okay, what else? I feel like a lot of people are on my back right now. Okay, what else? I'm afraid of letting my family down. Okay, what else? You see what's happening? Overwhelm isn't really all that terrifying. Overwhelm just comes from these little blocks. Y'all listen, Lego blocks are tiny. Lego blocks are tiny, unless you get like the mega ones. Lego blocks are tiny. But when they build something massive, well, of course it's big. But when you're able to start breaking it down and saying, okay, what is it really? Like if you don't know, then the honest truth is you're just gonna see it as a big castle. Letters of recommendation. Even in that, like y'all, like you have to break everything down. So even with letters of recommendation, what is it? Is it the fact that I'm afraid I won't get them? Is it the fact that I don't think the professionals won't turn it in time? Is it the fact that I don't feel like I know anyone well enough to write a strong letter of recommendation for me? What is it? You can't attack something if it's too big, right? It's kind of like if I'm like, one of my favorite books is by Malcolm Gladwell. It's called David and Goliath. It's actually not a spiritual book, actually. But if you guys want to understand how to think this way, like someone commented below, David and Goliath by Malcolm Gladwell. He's one of my favorite authors. He's had Tipping Point, phenomenal books. But in it, he talks about like looking at giants, right? Everything that we build up usually ends up becoming a giant. And if something is massive enough, usually what is our first instinct to run? And if it's too big and you feel like it's even faster than you and bigger than you, we freeze. We're overwhelmed. We're anxious. Y'all seeing how these all correlate with each other? So are you breaking it down? Are you turning everything that you're experiencing into blocks? I mean, don't just talk about it. Don't say it out loud. Write it down. Like, look at it yourself. Say, okay, like, have you, like, grab a whiteboard. I love having whiteboards. So I have mine right here. Like, I love having whiteboards because I can categorize everything. I can go to the top and say, okay, GRE, PTCAS, this, my family, my job. Okay, and then list below it. What is it about those things that's overwhelming? Then what you have to do is start saying, okay, how can I cross out every little thing that's actually overwhelming me? If it's letters of recommendation and I'm overwhelmed by the fact that I can't find the right people, okay, now we have to ask the question, how do we find those people? Do I know somebody? Okay, maybe I don't. Okay, how do we handle that? Maybe I'm scared of them not turning in on time. Okay, how do we handle that? How do we communicate with them? Y'all, listen, if you break it down and look at it and just start marking those things off, you'll start realizing that you're in a lot more control than you might have thought you were in. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to everybody so far? That's just point one. If it makes sense, comment below makes sense. I just want to make sure that before I go to point two, that part makes a lot of sense, because the goal of tonight is to help you guys conquer and navigate overwhelm, because it's so common. But overwhelm is one of the thieves of the joy and momentum and focus of a lot of pre-PTs, and I don't want you to. I don't want you to be one of them. I don't. Rachel, I don't want you to be one of them. So if it makes sense, comment makes sense below. And then we'll go to number two. Number two, comment this below. Comment number two, schedule everything out. Casey just talked about it. Casey just talked about it. Like a lot of, man, like it's similar to breaking everything down, but I need y'all to understand, I'm trying to look for my planner. Casey just talked about a planner. I use a planner, but I love whiteboards, right? So if I turn this, y'all realize like I don't even have like anything written on this right now. But like tonight, this whole thing, like this whole thing is gonna be filled up. It's gonna be filled up with a lot of stuff, right? The reason why I do that is because I have to see it. I have to know what I'm marking down by the end of the day. So what I do is the night before, and I've told this to some of our students that we coach, the night before I write down everything that I'm going to do the next day. And I categorize it. I categorize it by priority. What are the things that I have to get done by the end of the day? And then category two, what are the things that are a pretty good thing to get done, but if I don't quite get to them or if I don't quite complete them, it's not the end of the day. And then at the very bottom, what's up, Paul? At the very bottom, what are the things that should get done, but you know, if I have to move them forward to another day, they're not my top priorities. Great, I set those things up. Because most of the times you guys get overwhelmed because you do the little stuff at the bottom that makes you feel busy and you're occupying so much of your time, but at the end of the day, you end up leaving the big stuff untouched. So by the time you're looking at it, you're like, holy freaking crap, I have so much to do. I can't handle it. I can't address it. Oh my God. And then all of a sudden it just feels anxiety and fear and frustration and stress. And all of a sudden you're like, I can't apply to PT school. I'm not going to get accepted this year. Y'all see how this works? Yeah. You use a planner, but then take the extra step. Block out the hours of your day from 7 to 8. What are you going to get done? If you're in class, okay, that's probably done for you. Okay, from 8 to 9, from 9 to 10, from 10 to 11. Like, are you blocking out every hour in your day and telling yourself the things that you have to do in those hours? Or are you waiting till the end of the day to just try to rush and get as much as you can done and freak out about it? Because one of the things that I'm starting to realize, and Casey and I teach this a lot, is like we waste so much time, like it's not even funny. Like as human beings, we waste time. Like we were never taught how to value time. So we waste so much time without realizing it. Most of the time, we're freaking out about things that haven't even happened yet. So are you scheduling everything out? Comment this below if you're watching live or on replay. If it's not scheduled, it's not important. I want you to comment that below. Emily, good to see you. If it's not scheduled, it's not important. So if you have things that are priorities of yours, and you're like, man, those things are overwhelming me, are they scheduled? If they're not scheduled, they're not important. It's like they don't exist. That's why they're not getting done. That's why you're not able to knock them out. That's why they've built up into something that's so massive and overwhelming that it's created everything you're feeling right now. Does that make sense? Phenomenal. Number 3, set and meet daily expectations. So we talked about scheduling everything out. We talked about breaking things down. Those things are like our little blocks, right? But daily. Set and meet daily expectations. So ask yourselves questions like this, and you can comment this below. If at the end of today I feel like blank, today was successful. If at the end of today I feel like blank, today was successful. And then the next one is, if at the end of today I accomplish blank, I will see this day as successful. What you're doing is you're having a way to check yourself at every single point. You're creating a way to check yourself when it comes to everything. You're minimizing it, right? If I take this giant and I minimize it, then all of a sudden it's not so scary. Then I'm having you break things down per hour. If you're not doing it, it's like literally overwhelm it's just going to happen, right? And then now I'm saying at the end of each day, how are you checking yourself? Are you able to look in the mirror at the end of the day and say, I was not on my game today. Cool. How are you going to fix it the next day? Or are you just going to wait for the next few days? Or are you just going to pacify it the next day with just watching a bunch of Netflix shows so you don't have to remember that you have a lot to do? Or are you just going to hang out with your friends this weekend because you're like, we planned this thing like a month ago, so I'll just worry about everything I got to do on Monday? Is that what you're doing? Of course you're going to be overwhelmed. Honestly, your efficiency just goes down. And it's actually holding you back from getting exactly what you want, which most of you want to get into PT school. Some of y'all, I said most because some of y'all are already getting in right now. But you're here for a reason. You're watching this live for a reason. You're watching this on replay for a reason. You're listening to this as a podcast episode for a reason. You want to get into PT school, but I'm telling you this right now. If you are struggling with overwhelm, it means that you are not taking as much action as you have the potential to take. If you're not taking the amount of action that you have the potential to take, you are not doing everything in your power to get into, and that will hold you back. Does that make sense? Do the first 3 points make sense before I tell you the last one, and then go play with my puppy and hang out with my wife? If those make sense, say yes, Joseph. Yes, yes, yes. Just comment yes. Like, if those make sense, just say yes. Because I want to make sure y'all are like, okay, cool, 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 cool. You got it, Joseph. Cool. If those make sense, perfect. Number four, have an accountability system. Like, we talked about this point with our students in the acceptance system. Now, they happen to have the hack of being part of a pretty tight community in the acceptance system, where they're around some very, very next level PTs who have the same goals, same aspirations, same focus, same everything, that are part of, like, and they're using each other as their, like, super teams is what we call them, right? But do you have an accountability system? I sure do. Mine starts with my wife. I have Casey to be accountable to. We're business partners. Casey and I have a coach that we're accountable to. We have our students that we're accountable to. Like, students in the acceptance system, when they, like, schedule calls with us, or we're doing trainings for them, like, I'm not just gonna sleep and be like, oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. No, I'm accountable to them. But for you as a pre-PT, do you have an accountability system? I think one of the biggest kryptonites for pre-PTs is this misconception that we're supposed to do this on our own. Mainly because we feel like if we don't do it on our own, we're going to be helping somebody else, and if we help somebody else, then they have a better shot. It's such a losing mindset. If you're right now isolating yourself because you're like, hey, I'm trying to make sure I have the best opportunity, you're actually doing the exact opposite. You are. It's such a losing mind. Like maybe it's because we've been taught that to stand out, we have to crush everybody else. Y'all, like, remember this point. Remember that, like, there are two ways to stand tall. The two ways to stand tall are, like, for a skyscraper, for example. There's two ways for a skyscraper to stand tall. The first way is to build the tallest skyscraper. The second one is to crush every other building around. So if you feel like the only way to crush it as a pre-PT is to crush every other building around it, then you're going to think that the only way to do this is to be by yourself. And you're going to be afraid of other people. But I can tell you right now, is one of the best ways to make sure that you keep on it and stay locked in so that you don't get to the point of overwhelm, because overwhelm is. Does that make sense? What's up, Javi? How you doing, bro? Does that make sense to everybody? Does that make sense to, like, yes, sir? Yep. We got it. We got it. Because if you guys can follow these 4 steps, if you guys can break it down, if you guys can start scheduling, if you guys can start setting and meeting daily goals, if you guys can have an accountability system, then honestly, everything you're feeling right now, overwhelm-wise, will start to go down. Yes, are you going to be nervous? Of course. It's a kind of PT school. It's a big part of your life. You're excited about it. You're nervous about it. Like, of course you're going to feel that. Of course. You're a human being. But overall, you shouldn't be what's navigate. Like, if you're feeling a lot of overwhelm, then there's a lot of what I shared tonight that you're not doing. You might be doing 1 of them, 2 of them. If you're not doing anywhere between 3 to 4 of them, then yes, it's good. Like, Casey and I have to check ourselves. Like, we're both full-time physical therapists. We coach well over 100 students in person, and we're doing, like, we are, like, busy. But if we don't want to be overwhelmed, we have to be on it with all of these 4. So we're teaching you exactly what we apply to our life. If you want to be successful as a pre-PT, y'all, listen, that's the only way to do it. And if you're still stuck in your, like, man, I need someone to help me walk step by step, well, contact us. Like, we know exactly how to help you. Like, contact us, go to contactptground.com, talk to us, say, yo, like, I need some direction, I need some clarity, help me. Go to contactptground.com, message us, and we got you. But if you're like, hey, Joseph, Casey, got it. This is exactly what I need to hear. I got it. Cool. Let me go take care of it. And go do it. Because if you really want to get into PT school, if you really want to crush it even after you get in, because PT school ain't no joke. If you really want to crush it even when you get past that point, then you're going to have to master these 4. And mastering only comes from repeating something over and over and over and over and over. Y'all can do that. Y'all will crush it. If you guys need our help, if you feel like, hey, I need it, like, message us right now. But if you don't, it's all good. I just want y'all to be so locked in. Because the pre-PTs are the ones that are shifting the entire profession. And honestly, I'm so proud of y'all. So proud of you for taking the strides you've taken so far, for pushing yourself, for being part of a community like this. But let's not let overwhelm dictate us. Let's not let it dictate us. We can't. Y'all have a blessed one. Many blessings. Casey, anything else before we close?
And that's it. That's it. Y'all take care. We will see you very, very soon.
God bless. Bye.